Hi, welcome to Thete Gaming and another video in the Retribution Paladin changes in Dragonflight. There's not too many here. I am just going to point out, I was moaning about this last week, they still haven't put my charger here, saying I haven't collected it. Absolutely outrageous. I collected this back in vanilla the hard way. The hard way. And it hasn't let me have it in the beta, even though I've copied the character across. Never mind. Let's look at changes. There's only really one significant change to the talents, and this is probably in itself an indication that Retribution for Dragonflights is basically where it's going to be. We don't know for certain. Blizzard can do funny things. In fact, you know, the way I've sort of seen this alpha and beta progress is in some ways very different, a very different pattern to previous ones. They can change their approach as they like. It's very difficult to extrapolate things. But what we've seen each week when I've been doing one of these videos, there has been some, well, there was one week where maybe there wasn't, but by and large there's been significant changes. And I have to say, the changes have by and large been better. There's the odd one that I've not been as keen on, but by and large they've addressed the major concerns. So what I'm also going to look at, apart from pointing out the change here, I'm going to look at the general shape of it now, because I'm not I could be wrong, but I'm not expecting it to change significantly. I suspect that now that we're into beta, we're in the process of Blizzard just making the expansion work. It feels like they're trying to push for a release date in like November, end of November. Certainly it needs to be before Christmas, because, you know, with when they announced the sale of the pre-orders for the expansion, obviously they talk, I'm going too far here, but I'm not going to do any questing. They talked about, you know, they have to give a release date, so we know it has to be, you know, basically start of winter at the latest. So they don't really have a lot of time. They've still got to make sure the expansion works, and they've still got to tune things. And obviously, if you're going to make major changes to the shape of the talent tree whilst you tune, it's just chaos, isn't it? It's not going to happen. So it feels like it's probably about done. So let's go through the change here. I'll just put on some things for now. I'll put both of these on just for now, because we like our cleanse, or I like cleanse. So realistically, you're going to take Divine Steed. You have to take Divine Steed. Here is the change. So the way it was before, you spent a talent point on having Divine Steed at all. Of course you're going to have Divine Steed. You absolutely need a movement boost. It's the only movement boost we've got. You could spend a point on giving it 2 charges. This is, from my point of view, worth it if you can afford the point, because it's useful in Mythic Plus dungeons as well as raids. I mean, if you had a raid boss where you never had to move out quickly, or preferably at all, then sure, you can absolutely do without that. You could do without Divine Steed, except you can't, because you need it for Avenging Wrath. So you do without that. But in a situation where it's one of those things where you have to quickly move out from a boss, and then ideally you want to quickly move back in, not because you have to, but because you're losing DPS when you're not hitting it, then a second charge is useful. 1 charge to get yourself out at the last second, 1 charge to get yourself back in as quickly as possible. So you may or may not take that for leveling purposes. Obviously we don't care about that. Then what you could do, you could spend up to 2 talent points giving it an extra second, because it's 3 seconds standard. You could potentially do it up to 5 seconds. Now to remove that, you can spend 1 talent point increasing the duration by 1 second. Okay, fine. The other talent point is this seal of this is absolute rubbish. While mounted on your chart, and this has already been in, by the way, they've just now folded it in so it's not wasting more room in the tree. They've just folded 2 crap talents together, basically. While mounted on your charger or under the effects of Crusader Aura, the ranges of Crusader Strike, Templar's Verdict, and so on are increased by 3 yards. I mean, it's one of these things you think, well, for leveling, like, I'm not going to have Retribution Aura active, because why would I? Its benefits only exist if I'm in a group. So if I'm on my own, it does nothing. So I'm going to have Crusader Aura anyway. And then you could think, oh, maybe there's some like little benefit from an extra 3 yards. Yeah, okay, whatever. But I can't afford the talent point because there's other things to get. So it's still a bit crap. But they've folded it in. That's really the change. That is it. We still have to get this. I mean, in terms of issues that I've got, if I go down, as I say, I like now the fact you can bypass concentration aura and devotion aura to get cleansed toxins. I still have to go through this, but for Mythic Plus dungeons, which is what I mostly want cleansed toxins for, that's fine. For solo stuff, I don't really care about either of these, but at the same time, I don't need to absolutely max everything out anyway. I'm fine spending a talent point on that. I don't have to spend both these. I would always take Lay on Hands, Blessing of Freedom, because this is, you know, if I was building this up for leveling, there are going to be times when Blessing of Freedom is useful. Take that. The Fist of Justice thing, disappointing you have to spend 2 on that, but you have to spend 2 on that. And then we get anything that buffs our damage in the class tree is, of course, going to be beneficial. Then we look down here. So obviously we're going to take Avenging Wrath. I'm going to check something actually works in a minute when I've finished taking this out. This could be useful. Again, you see how it sims. May or may not be essential. I'm not bothered about any of those. Rebuke's always useful. Obviously that's a damage boost. We'll take that. I'm not sure about that yet. Down here, what do we want? Again, this all, for solo purposes, all of this is a nonsense, but we need to go down here anyway. So for solo purposes, you're more likely to take Blessing of Protection. It could, in theory, be useful on occasions. Blessing of Sacrifice, again, only useful in a group. In terms of group work, Mythic Plus dungeons or raids, depends on what you do and what the encounter is. Blessing of Spell Warding may be useful as well. So that's, you know, I'll work on the assumption that Blessing of Spell Warding, either for our own use or for utility use, may be there. Reduce cooldown on Divine Shield, Lay on Hands, Divine Protection. Yes, always. Then we've got 3 more talent points to spend. Oh, what do we want to spend them on now? I mean, this is a throughput, so you inevitably want to take something of this, even though it's a bit rubbish. I'll take this one. They're both pants. 2 more. Is this where we go for? Okay, we'll give ourselves the extra thing on the steed. And just because I'm leveling, why not Seal of the Templar? Why not? That just feels silly. Can I get rid of it? Actually, for leveling, we'll probably just take something that does a bit of healing for us, don't we? I'm not bothered about that. Not bothered about that. Divine Purpose, yes. So, Holy Avenger, I was saying on the Paladin Discord, was it yesterday or something? Holy Avenger used... I can't even remember everything about it when it first came into being. But it seemed to me to be quite nice at one time. But it is now absolute tosh. And I think the problem is we've now got so many ways to generate holy power that holy power generation being trebled for 20 seconds. You think, oh, it'd be great. You do a spender and then you do a builder and a spender, builder and a spender. But we have so many builders now that do 2 or even 3 holy power that... or rather we do have builders that do 2 or 3 holy power, that you're going to waste a lot of that power generation. And yes, it allows you to do builder, spender, builder, spender, builder, spender. But it's just not going to win out over, you know, again, things like this, you always say, wait till the tuning's been done and wait to see what sims best. You can't just look at it empirically. But empirically, you can look at this and just think, we're probably never... Holy Paladins, I think, for this. I think this is holy. Remember, it's the class tree. It doesn't have to be a benefit to Ret. But I think as Ret, we are going to steer clear of that. I described it as being like the kid at school who you thought was fun, but then grew up to be an idiot. So I just don't... I think it's cool. It's nice. You know, it's a really cool looking spell, but... And what we got here? Consecrations damage increase. Yeah, why not? So at the moment I've got 4 more, just for my levelling purposes. We are going to end up with Mad Paragon. I'm just trying to think where I'm going to go first. I'm going to go for that. Oh, I'm not going to get Mad Paragon here, am Never mind. Right, that'll do. I'm only leveling. Right, Blade of... Actually, I'm not even leveling. I'm still... Because I've only just come back to the game, I'm still ramming my characters through LFR and live. I'm actually... Normally, you know, I'd be done. And I'd be spending all my time in the beta because I'd basically be done apart from raid nights. That's how it used to be now. Now I'm actually coming back to the game. I'm playing the retail game and no time for beta. But anyway, let's quickly go through these because I don't think there's any real changes here. I'm not swearing I haven't missed anything out, but I don't think there's been a change here. I think that was the change there. And maybe some things for like Holy. So we'll go for the Crusader Strike, but I do want to check something. Yeah, we'll go for that. Divine Protection. Even though for solo purposes I'd be better off with Shield of Vengeance, I think. But, you know, just because we've got it back, I'm going to have that. Zeal. I'm not a fan of... I mean, it's a good talent, but I'm not a fan of having it. We'll do that. That's always nice. Ashes to Dust. Let's go along here. What else do we want? Consecrated Blade. Which one's this? No, don't want that. Possibly Seal of Wrath. Yeah, we'll go for Seal of Wrath. I prefer that over the other two because I want Empyrean Power. That still does the same, does it? Basically. Truth's Wake, extra dot on Wake. I don't think so. Right, Crusade. I want to see if Crusade still works properly because last time it didn't. Let's see if they've changed that at least. Inner Power. We'll just have... I'll go for the Consecrate one. We'll test that out. Exorcism 1. Don't want that. New. Healing Hands, yes. As we're leveling, we'll go for a bit of Justicar's Vengeance. Why not? Templar Lightbringer is useful in a lot of situations. Ashes to Ashes. I do want to go down here. See, that's also quite nice. I've got to think ahead. I'm not actually I don't have to think ahead because you can do different specs anyway. So purely for leveling, I do like that. And Final Verdict. I sort of want to go down to Vanguard's Momentum and the Mad Paragon. They're going to work well with each other. So we'll work towards that. Right, so what I actually just wanted to do, just finally, is... So it still says a 3-minute cooldown. Yeah, this is the problem. That I'm still fairly sure that's going to be a bug. Because Avenging Wrath is now a 2-minute cooldown. But as I said in the last one, the way the talents were a couple of weeks ago is Avenging Wrath had a 3-minute cooldown. Then there was another talent to reduce the cooldown by 1 minute. So then they got rid of that. They made it so Avenging Wrath just now has a 2-minute cooldown. So they removed the talent to reduce it by 1 minute. But because Crusade is a different spell, they sort of forgot and they left that at 3 minutes. Because remember, that talent in the class tree was all supposed to reduce Crusade by 1 minute, but it's not there anymore. And it would be really egregious to have Crusade as a 3-minute cooldown. Not because of, you know, being too weak or anything like that. Like people keep saying, you can tune it. You can absolutely tune Crusade to be a really stronger cooldown with the longer cooldown, the 3-minute cooldown. The issue is, on some fights you may take Crusade, on some, in theory, you may take something else. And what you don't want is because it's very disruptive if your major cooldown on some fights is 2 minutes and on some fights is 3 minutes. It's hassle you can do without, because although you'll have your, you know, a top player will have their like tell me when or something like that, weak orders or whatever, telling them when things are coming off cooldown, it's just in your own head you get into a certain cycle, a pattern. So that is hopefully still a bug. But looking at it, because all we've got is one little change, because we've got tuning actively taking place, because we're now in the beta and we are rushing towards what may be a release in like 10 weeks time. And remember the pre-patch, because you know you don't have to be in the beta to test this out, by the way. The PTR has the latest talents. So the pre-patch will come out probably at the end of next month. The end of October, like Halloween time, could well be pre-patch time. and the talents have to be ready for that. They can't carry on messing about with the talents then. So I just think this is probably it. I'm not saying they won't tweak little things. I mean, that was a tweak. That's all it was. There wasn't anything significant. They haven't changed some pathing significantly. They haven't put something else in. They haven't gone, okay, you know, yeah, Long Arm of the Law actually could be quite cool. Let's give you that. No, it's all the same things. We haven't got anything extra. We haven't had anything taken away. We've just had a tweak. And that's all it really is. So, you know, you would think all the omens suggest that this is basically where it's at. And it is now just a case of waiting for the tuning to happen. And then when it goes live, simming to see which of these talents you're going to take. Really. But those are my thoughts anyway. Let me know yours in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you later.